Welcome back everyone, and we're in map number 2 of this best of 3 finals. Game 1 was so tense, it was so awesome, it was just amazing. Twitch chat is currently exploding with how great it was, obviously after the delay. But yes, map number 2, Polar Knights, spawning to the north. Having just held an incredible base trade and just playing an awesome harassment heavy game, winning it, takes the early lead, representing alien invasion. It's Golden. His opponent to the south, the blue Terran player, representing Team Acer. MMA. MMA has to win this to stay in the tournament. And if he does it, then obviously we go to the ace game. If he doesn't, Golden 2-0s MMA, which is no easy feat. MMA going to be opening with that Reaper yet again. And if he does it, well, that's where it gets a bit interesting, because game number 1, MMA didn't have much success with those Reapers in the follow on Hellion. Really didn't actually achieve much at all. And that's because Golden defended it beautifully. So MMA needs to achieve more with it, if that's what he's planning this map. And the build certainly looks like it. Golden, I have no doubt, is going to be playing very similar. Running for a big play into those muters that he had so much success with in game number 1. And the mutalist harassment really was how Golden won that first game. He just relentlessly harassed MMA, preventing him from moving out, picking off so many workers, really hurting MMA's economy, while giving him the freedom to aggressively and dangerously expand, knowing that MMA had to stay back in order to defend. By doing that, things were just really, really good for Golden. So, this game, Golden at the moment, opening pretty much identical. So's MMA though, second Reaper coming through. Gonna be interested if yet again we see the third Reaper come out. I've mentioned the pros and cons of that, so I won't go into it again, but after how well Golden defended that 3 Reaper, 4 Hellion play early, it just didn't really seem like he was gonna be able to achieve too much with it. So, MMA, for the moment at least, not doing that. He actually loses the Reaper there. That's something you hardly ever seen. It wasn't even with Lings, it was with drones taking it down. MMA really not coming off too well there. And Golden, again, just sitting really happy. He's lost 1 worker for that. But overall, losing less resources. Worthwhile losing 1 worker to pick off a Reaper at this stage. Beautifully done. Meanwhile, MMA adding in his natural base. It's a bit delayed. Factory and the reactor coming down, so he's going to be following this up with Hellions. But Golden should be feeling pretty happy with where he is now. He's got speed coming through, pulls drones off, should be looking to take a third in about the next minute-ish. And well, just coming into scout now. This 1 Ling going to force back the Reaper. There is still only that 1 Reaper down. Confirms everything here, but importantly sees the star pawn, and that was definitely scouted that the tech lab is also there. This gives Golden some great information that MMA most likely gunning towards some kind of Banshee follow-up to this, so 2 Reapers, 4 Hellions, and probably a Banshee or 2 to try and harass. A very harassment-heavy style. But now it's been scouted at pretty much the earliest point imaginable. Golden can just start preparing his defense. He can get ready to grab down an Overseer, maybe add in a couple of additional queens. He is currently only running with 3 queens, may go up to the 4th. If he feels he needs to, add in just a couple of spore crawlers, and he'll be fine. Everything will be beautifully safe for him. So, what does Golden do other than that? Well, he knows what's coming. He knows what MMA is doing, so he goes, well, I can drone X amount, and those drones will come out, and they will keep coming out until that point where he knows that he has to get up some form of defense. But just having that information allows him to be so greedy to the best point that he can. Hellions are going to come through. The drones line up a little bit. Needs to be careful there. Quite a few getting taken out. Golden's just got to be a bit careful. Engaging against Hellions with drones can be done, but you've just got to do it at exactly the right point. All three queens are down to the natural. Those drones lining up yet again could take some very big hits. Got to be careful, but all the Hellions now do die. 12 workers killed though. MMA going to be happy with that. Banshee instantly goes down though, and that's a big loss, losing that. Golden, no third base, so this is a bit delayed. Knows that his opponent's been playing a bit greedy tech-wise, so his third is going to be delayed himself. But still, Golden, not doing anything crazy, just opting up for a Spire. He had a lot of success in that first game in order to get those Mutalisks down, and actually using those Mutalisks to harass so much. Otherwise, both of these two should be fairly happy with how the opening's gone for them. Third base now on its way out for Golden. Meanwhile, MMA sitting at the watchtower, keeping a close peek. We do have the reactor being added on now to the starport, so it's going to be starting to produce those medevacs. The big downside to going for the Banshee early on is it does delay your medevacs quite a while. Hellions discovering the third base timing, but creep spread already coming there. Just to help tide things up, also gives the option of producing some spine quarters around it, should Golden feel the need for static defense. MMA making a small adaptation to his play from game number 1, getting a Thor out nice and fast, and I like this adaptation a lot. By getting the Thor down, 2 Thors down, the Mutalisk style composition will be a lot less effective. Only 3 on the field currently though, and Roach is following this up, and that's due to just a great bit of scouting coming down from Golden. He's seen 3 factories, knows something's up, and there's going to be quite a mech heavy play, but doesn't know about these additional barracks coming through. Yet, anyway, should be coming over to scout them. Thor of course gets a shot off, but only 3 mutas produced, so even if all 3 of these die, it's not the end of the world. The fact that it's forced out this many Thors in itself probably pays for them somewhat. It's not obviously great, but only 3 mutas isn't the end of the world. Roach speed, +1 missile attack, and of course +1 armor coming down for Golden. Meanwhile, MMA adding in some tanks now. The important thing is that MMA is now going into those tanks. He's realized that, okay, my opponent isn't getting that many Mutalisks down that I've seen, so I shouldn't be committing too heavily to Thors. So, Golden still getting some nice damage down. But, to be honest, Golden is just staying in such a solid spot. The Roaches really just feel like he's one step ahead of MMA. MMA now getting a bit more crafty, getting through a couple more Marines through, and obviously getting that additional, or this kind of mix up of a very mech heavy, a very tank heavy composition in with the infantry does make it a bit more unique. But this very hybrid style of mech and infantry, not sure how it's going to work, because Golden, he's pushing in, getting some damage down as fast as he can, trying to take out those Thors, but both standing, not actually finishing one of them on very low health. The tank will now fall. A lot of SCVs getting pulled. Quick burrow on the Roaches, trying to heal them up, but a scan reveals that they're there. Still, a fair few Roaches remaining. The bunker is in a good position, and the Roaches forced back. 12 workers killed on both sides, but a handful of Roaches traded for 2 Thors, 2 tanks, and a lot of Marines is really damn nice. So, Golden continues with a lot more Roach production. He's got +2 missile attack coming through. Level on the upgrades. But again, because MMA is committing heavily to his mech production with these 3 early factories, the 1-1 infantry upgrades really don't benefit a sizable part of his army. At least not compared to, say, like, Marine tank. So in come the Roaches. Again, going straight for the tanks. They're the big damage dealers against them. If all 3 fall, there's not really too much else to contend with. The bunkers are being repaired very well though. One falls, but the other one's staying up. Just great repairs from these SCVs. No sign of any banelings or anything like that. Just very aggressive roach play. Unfortunately, the SCV's not getting taken out, and that's the big thing that really Golden wants to be gunning for, because he doesn't have a 4th. He hasn't taken his 5th or 6th gas. And the Baning Nest now coming through, and I think this is essential if he's going to try and break this. He knows that MMA is going to be falling a bit behind army supplies wise. But he's got to get some big Baneling hits. Trying to assault into the natural base, catches his opponent off guard. Roaches and Lings coming from all flanks, but still a lot of infantry here for MMA. They've got the 2-1 upgrades, crushing this force from Golden. Golden maybe being a little bit eager. GG's out, and MMA, through some great defense, is able to level out this series to 1-1, and we go to the ace game.